All right, folks. Farmer Brown and friends. We didn't have a lot of content for you, and then everybody traded. So
But
now
we
we got a
love
lot of
trades.
content. So we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna be evaluating what, 5 trades today?
Five trades.
Yeah, so lots to talk about. Lots of implications, lots of changes in the trajectory of playoff contenders versus non-playoff contenders. I think people have finally decided if they're going to be contenders or if they're going to be rebuilders. I think people are really diving into this whole dynasty idea. It was originally a lot of people in this redraft mentality, but now people are starting to dig into the longevity of dynasty versus redraft.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into it. So, first one that started off this whole thing is the Garrett Wilson trade. So, Frankie and Hangley. Um, uh,
Yeah, I mean you hit it first because I've got some comments.
yeah, absolutely. So, you look at this, Garrett Wilson was traded for a haul, but I wish the haul was bigger. A 25 first, a little bit away. I wish the Zay Jones, like Zay Jones isn't really someone that you're truly kind of looking for here. I know he's kind of been banged up, but his history, this is what he's given you. His highest was last season. It was a 26th wide receiver, according to wide receivers. Um, I wish Hangley got more. Garrett Wilson is a basically he's definitely a top 10 wide receiver, but is he gonna make that jump into a top five wide receiver? I don't think that's gonna happen this season. I think he really is gonna hold steady with the production that he's doing, but he is such a long-term dynasty asset that I feel like giving it up for his package was definitely an interesting move, especially when Hangley's team is rebuilding. I don't know if he just wanted the picks. So it's my feelings on that. I think Frankie definitely got the better side of the whole Garrett Wilson trade. But that's just my feelings on that. What about you?
Yeah, I mean I agree with all your feelings. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to like stay locked in on is that we're a new dynasty league, right? There's what, 9 out of 12 of us, 8 out of 12 of us who have never even competed in any kind of dynasty format at all.
I would
So
yeah, I would say me and you are probably the only like steady ones that like
yeah, I mean Mike's been in one. Whether he's steady with it or not, Mike's been in one,
yeah.
and I think that's it. I don't know anyone else
And
actually.
that was a long we did one a long time ago, like oh my God, like 2012, I want to say.
Yeah, when all your brother's friends quit and
Mhm.
I was like angry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah, that one.
that. We were like 15, 16, 17 years old, and all these 20 something year olds were like, no, screw this. I ain't paying.
And here we are
Yep. And now look at
in
us.
a
We're
new one.
delinquents. Yeah, now we're the delinquents. Um, so yeah, what we really need to realize is the longevity cost of things, right? So Zay Jones, 28 years old, never really a front runner. I mean, I'm not saying he's not an athlete. He's definitely a good NFL football player. That's why he's been in the league so long. But 28 years old probably gives you 3 to 4 year window, right? 30, 31 is like kind of that window where, okay, if you're a running back, you're probably already done. If you're a wide receiver, you're nearing the end. If you're a quarterback and you're still playing at 30, 31, 32, then you're probably solid, but you're still
Exactly.
towards the end of the road. So Zay Jones is probably worth a third rounder. And if someone really loved him because he's having a decent year this year when he's healthy, maybe a really late second rounder. And that's me being generous. Um, a fifth rounder is an absolute layup. Like you have not even a layup. That's the wrong phrase. It's a crapshoot. You have no idea what that'll be. That could be,
Star throws all over.
yeah, that could be, you get completely lucky and you grab a quarterback like um who the heck is on the 49ers right now? It's too early.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, you can get absolutely blessed and grab a guy like Brock Purdy as like the final pick of the entire rookie draft, or you get a Mr. Irrelevant that has no name and you've never used him once in your lineup. I could say the same for a third round pick. I really feel like the only picks that are not dart throws are first and second round rookie picks, and even the second round rookie picks are scary, you know.
Yeah.
So
I will
the only
say
thing,
I like a good third round pick though. Like
yeah,
you're definitely still very much like you're correct with the whole dart throw thing, but I definitely think the chances are oh I definitely think the
oh,
chances are
Jason's iPhone exploded.
it did. I think the chances are still high for you to have like a successful player for like the third round pick, but you gotta know it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, each round just has a larger gamble attached to it.
Yeah.
That's really what I'm trying to get at. So, you yes, Garrett Wilson is not having his best year. Yes, Garrett Wilson definitely had a better year last year, but it's his second year. He's still commanding an insane amount of targets.
And that's
I
what
mean,
I wanted to point out when you say he's not having a good year though, but it's just Zach Wilson. That's why he's not having a good
yeah.
year. But look,
It's not because
he's
it's not
getting
because
hyper
he's not
targeted.
getting the
Look
work.
at him.
He's getting the work. He's it's just bad accuracy by a a better quarterback than he was last year, but still basically a rookie in his own right. It's one of those things where Garrett Wilson will be relevant for the next 8 years plus. So you get Zay Jones, who's going to be relevant for the next. I mean, flex relevance. Garrett Wilson's going to be your wide receiver one relevant for the next 8 years, whereas Zay Jones is going to be your wide receiver 3 or 4 relevant for another 2 or 3 years, maybe even worse. Again, I'm being generous, and
Yeah.
then yeah, maybe your rookie pick works out. Maybe you end up getting a stud, and maybe your third round pick and your fifth round pick work out, but why gamble when you have
Garrett
something?
Wilson. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you already have something. I mean, I love draft picks. I mean, in your league, I've got 4 draft picks for 2024, and I'm still looking to earn more. But I'm in a true rebuild. I mean, Kyle is. Kyle's in it. I think Kyle's made the decision that he's in a true rebuild. So like, it's not wrong to have assets for the future, but Garrett Wilson is an asset for the future.
I think there's also something last point, and then we can move on, but I think it's also something to like point out that where we most of us live in Jersey and this is our homer league, so he definitely could have gotten more
Oh
from
yeah,
Frankie, because
because Frankie's like an
he's a
absolute
Jets fan,
Jets
you know.
delinquent. Yeah,
I think I Frankie basically has the whole entire Jets team now. So,
he's
that's also something to think about. You
yeah.
have people who really like these players, so I think they would pay a little bit more for those things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
What do you, because I want to do this with all the trades. What is your Garrett Wilson price tag? You have Garrett Wilson. What's the number you sell him at?
Oh, so I've had people actually try to buy Garrett Wilson for me in my other league that I own him in, but
Let's
uh,
assume you're a rebuilder. Like, let's
yeah.
assume like you have the ability to sell him. Let's not
So,
pretend like he's an
but if
untouchable.
I'm a rebuilder though, why am I not keeping Garrett Wilson?
How about this? Let's put ourselves in a scenario where you're able to sell Garrett Wilson. Maybe you're an absolute champion. Let's say you're Ben and you have Chase
Yeah.
and Justin Jefferson.
Okay, so
What?
that's so I would say I would sell Garrett Wilson if I was a contending team, but Garrett Wilson was probably like my wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type of thing. I would hope I'd have more of like a borderline wide receiver 1 that is like a stud.
Yeah,
But I would be trading Garrett Wilson to like tier up to someone that's going to be better this season, like CD Lamb, a Stefon Diggs, maybe even Cooper Cup. Those people they're putting up like actual stud fantasy points around that
yeah.
20 mark. Garrett
So
Wilson is
just like to
yeah,
secure
Garrett
that
will
championship.
exactly. Garrett Wilson, you're look right here. He's hovering around 13.48, and I really think that is essentially where he's gonna stay. I don't really think he's gonna top 20.
Yeah,
I think he really is gonna stay around this like 15 range, which isn't
yeah.
bad at all, but
No,
um
but it's better for a rebuilder. So if you traded him to a
Like
rebuilder,
a Tyreek Hill. If
yeah,
Tyreek Hill is on a rebuilding team, I'm definitely swapping Garrett Wilson. It really depends on your league too, Like
yeah.
you got to see who is actually not competing, who do they have, and see if you can make some moves with that. But
Like
that's a
if it
good
was
question.
you, if it's you or Frankie or any of the other Jets players, like I'm asking for 2.5 firsts. Like that's my
I
bottom line. That's my bottom line. A 2024, a 2024, or a 2024, 2025, plus maybe a middling player or a pair of second rounders. It might be a 2024 first and second, 2025 first and second. That might be the only thing. That might be the bottom line. And I would even be trying to shoot for 3 firsts.
yeah, I three first is wild. I don't know if I
I
would
mean,
ever do
I'd shoot for it. Doesn't mean I'd get it. I would
that.
settle for
I
two and a
would
half.
very much. I don't know if I would ever selling for two firsts is definitely something, but it really depends on the player I would get back to. I'm definitely someone who
Yeah,
likes to like tier up and tier down, and I want that player to like
yeah.
give that satisfaction. Like
The tier up makes sense though. Like, what would you pay for Tyreek Hill? I mean, I would pay 2.5 plus first for Tyreek Hill if I'm contending.
I would do my first immediate offer is Garrett Wilson and a second, and I want to see where that takes me with that Tyreek Hill trade.
Yeah, if that doesn't get you Tyreek Hill, then I'd be very confused.
So,
Because
but I
if
mean, people
you
and
have
what
in the assumption that the guy who has Tyreek Hill is a rebuilder and the guy who has Garrett Wilson is a contender. That's the assumption. So that would make perfect sense.
yeah.
You're gonna
See,
get
but it makes sense, but would they do it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so
Absolutely.
good question though. All right, let's move on to someone else here. Next trade is going to be my trade, the Stefon Diggs trade. So kind of similar, honestly, type of style of this last trade, but it's kind
Yeah,
of even like what we were just talking about right now is like tiering down and tiering up for a contender versus a rebuilder here. So
yeah.
I got DK Metcalf, a fourth, a first, and a second, all in 2024, and I sent over Patrick Stefon Diggs. So I'm gonna let you start off here since I'm the owner of this.
Yeah, me personally, I I'm not searching for DK Metcalf. And he's not bad. Like I just personally am not a DK Metcalf fan. I think he's a great young athlete. I think he benefits from Tyler Lockett opening the field. He's going to benefit from Jackson Smith and Jigba opening the field, just like Justin Jefferson. I'm a little worried about well, who's throwing the rock soon, right? So you got lucky in Seattle with this Geno Smith situation.
For sure.
Are they going to have a higher draft pick? Are they going to have a draft pick high enough this upcoming year to take a rookie? If they do, DK, Jackson Smith, and Jigba Tyler Lockett, their value is going to go down because it just inherently does. There's only been 2 rookies in the last like decade that have actually elevated their team, and that was Herbert just a couple years ago, and before that, it's just too early in the morning. Who the heck was the neckbeard from the Colts? Who was the quarterback?
Andrew Luck.
Luck. Yeah. Those two are the only 2 quarterbacks in the last decade that have elevated their wide receivers as a true rookie. Now, I'm not talking about a second year player, right? I'm talking about the first year they were in the NFL. So, if you're saying, hey, I mean, like, for Patrick, he's a contender. He's been making a lot of contender trades. He's been giving up a lot of assets to win now. So Stefon Diggs is a heck of a player. I mean, is he what, the number 2 right now or the number 1?
I think
I think he's
yeah, he's number two.
number 2. So, I mean, yeah, cheers. Good job. Like you plus all of the other stud top 5 wide receivers you have, it's going to be great, especially to, fight against someone like Jose, who's got, really the number ones at almost every position. Um,
So
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I think DK is worth a first. I mean, again, I wouldn't be searching for him, but if somebody was, I think DK is worth a first. I think you've given up a 24 first. You gave up a 24 fourth and a 24 second. You are rebuilding, I assume now.
I have to be the
So,
team.
and you're satisfied because you have all the 24 capital. This 24 class is supposed to be a good class. I think it's fair. I think someone who really wanted to get a bundle for Diggs could have maybe gotten a little bit more, but I think this is within the range of acceptable.
Yeah, 100%. I would also say it's fair. I don't think I like scammed Pat or anything,
No,
or he scammed me. I will say I very much agree with your DK thing. I think he's been pretty just like underwhelming overall. Kind of
I mean, you
on.
want him on your team, but you just don't want him to be like your guy. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like,
exactly. I would never have him be my guy.
yeah,
Unfortunately, right now, when he kind of is not my guy right now. I have CD Lamb as well, so like I'm also
yeah,
keeping that into consideration. So I don't know. Hopefully, these draft picks can kind of pan out. I definitely needed to make some moves and go in some type of direction. I think my team just does not have the depth and the power to make a run. I think I would have been hovering around a playoff team in like that 6 seed, and I don't want to
yeah,
do I
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
that is not my goals and intentions here.
yeah,
So yeah, so we had to make that move. Hey, and then it helps Pat to get closer to Jose. So that's important. Obviously this first and second is obviously going to be more around the late range, but I will say um, Pat's kind of struggling in the standings right now. Number 7. That's gonna I've also put that into consideration. Like it's not even currently a playoff team. I know that's obviously gonna change like as
yeah.
we
That like
the
when you're
season,
making
but
the trade, there is a world
exactly.
where it's not a playoff team.
Exactly. So,
It's
you know,
unlikely, but it is in the range of outcomes, just like
correct.
anybody.
Correct. So I'm just
Yeah,
hoping my team goes all the way down towards the bottom. I don't think anyone's ever going to catch Sean's team. I think that's just steady. So
yeah.
hopefully for a second, third, fourth round pick for like my own picks, and then we kind of go from there. So
I inquired with Sean about Herbert, and he put a huge stop sign right in my mouth.
I'm sorry.
So I think Sean is this intentional rebuild. I think he kind of always knew he was drafting like that,
Yeah, I mean
and
his team's
and I
young.
think he's ready. He's ready to take either Caleb or Drake May as the number one quarterback. I think he's trying to set himself up with two young stud quarterbacks.
Can we talk about this for a second? Caleb Williams. I don't know if you've been watching college
Uh-oh,
football.
here comes here comes
Have
the
you been
drama.
watching college football these last two
Here,
weeks?
yeah, here comes the drama.
Dude, what's going on?
Dude, I kind of
He's
don't want to
playing.
give my take
He's
because I have a big take.
You have a big take. I want to hear the take because I want to talk about it. It's actually kind of crazy.
It's Drake May to the moon, man.
He's so I haven't really watched too much of Drake May, which is unfortunate. Which I definitely need to get onto, but I've watched Caleb Williams versus Notre Dame and I watched him last night versus Utah. Um I will say I had money on these games, but I voted against Caleb Williams versus Notre Dame. Like I had Notre Dame, but yesterday I had USC and I don't know what this guy's doing out here. Like I don't know. I love his
Last
athletic
year,
ability though.
last year, last year he got paid a lot of money. He had a lot of plays that were lucky go in his favor. And now he's realizing that these are not things that you can do all the time. And they're definitely not going to be things you can do all the time in the NFL.
In the
Now, he's
NFL.
got the talent. He's got the talent. He's got the arm. He's got the intelligence. He's getting a little cocky. That's where he's at right now, in my opinion.
Hey, I
And
think
it's not, they didn't have like this dramatic change at offensive line or anything. Like, yeah, maybe he lost a wide receiver, but he has wide receivers. Like, he's how do I say this? I don't want to sound insulting. He's a little immature, and that's okay
well,
because
he's a
he's still in
kid.
college.
He's a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like the door is not closed. He's still
Yeah.
going to be and should be a top one, two,
Oh,
three,
he's gonna be the
rookie
top
draft pick. He's still going to be potentially the number one overall pick in the NFL. But these are, he's getting slapped on the wrist a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
if you really look at um God, I hate when I'm like brain dead in the morning. If you look at Patrick Mahomes, like, he's been in the league for what, 5 years, 4 years as a starter? Or is it
Probably.
4 years, 3 years as a starter? It's something like that.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, when he hasn't had Tyreek Hill, this guy who's just always open and you could just lay it up there, Patrick's been making some dumb throws because he's like, oh wait, that's not Tyreek Hill. Oh wait, I can't throw it in this window because one, the guy I'm throwing to is not that fast, and two, he's not as aggressive toward the football as Tyreek is.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple games where you're down Travis Kelce, and you're like, oh, this guy is not as aggressive as Travis Kelce. I like the kid. Is his name Gray? Noah Gray is the
Yeah.
backup. Yeah, the backup tight end. I like him. I think he's very good. He's not. He's never going to be Travis
Travis
Kelce. So
Kelce.
when there's a jump ball, Travis Kelce's just hawking that thing out of the air and coming down with it no matter what. Where Noah Gray is, yeah, I guess he's trying, but it's just not the same physical dominance. So similar to Patrick Mahomes, this kid Caleb has had athletes and honestly lady luck on his side for the last season. And this season, the coin's not quite flipping in his direction anymore. He's hitting tails more than he's hitting heads. And we're going to see mentally how he handles it, because that's 2 games in a row now that he's been had.
Yeah, it's been his performances have definitely been underwhelming. I like how he definitely is like in the pocket though, and he knows when to get out of it and like
Yeah,
scramble for some yards, which is definitely something that you want to see. Obviously, that rushing upside is always things that you want to see in a fantasy quarterback, but I definitely am a little bit worried about his playmaking. I don't know. It's yesterday was definitely a very underwhelming performance. I know Utah's defense is good. But you're going to be facing a lot better defenses in NFL. That's going to be like
significantly.
every single week. Every single week is going to be a top defense. So I
The
don't know.
the
You
thing
got it.
that's exciting about the thing that's exciting about him having a flaw is like, okay, if he steps up, he's going to be that much better.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
true.
if he steps up, if he learns what he needs to learn in terms of accuracy and timing, then he's going to be that much better at the NFL level. I think Caleb Williams is one of those players that I would rather take Drake May, who I think has the timing, has the poise, has the patience, still can run, has the size. He's like 6'4", 230 pounds. But if Williams ends up on a team that is known to have a really good quarterback coach or a really good offensive coordinator, that's a whole different story. Then I want Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
It really, for me, it depends on where he ends up with the coaching staff. If he doesn't end up with a good coaching staff that has quarterback track record, then I'm gonna go Drake May.
It's going to be interesting to see how that holds up there. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. We'll see. Both quarterbacks lost yesterday. So also something.
yeah.
So, all right. Next on. All right. So now we got Mike all in these next 3 trades. Mike made some moves this past week. Let's touch on this first one. I guess that's right here. So he acquired Justin Fields from Jack for a 24 first and a 24 fourth. So it's actually your first. So I'm not sure how you're valuing your own first there. So something for some insight, but I guess right off the bat that I kind of see. So Justin Fields is definitely an interesting quarterback overall for Dynasty. Like you just don't really know what is going to happen with him. Is he going to be a long-term quarterback? Is he not going to be a long-term quarterback? Obviously, when Justin Fields performs, he puts up points. Like this past, he's only had 2 solid weeks so far, 35 and 41. Incredible.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
wild.
insane.
Yeah, it's
Um,
wild.
uh, Obviously, Mike needs a quarterback. He just lost Anthony Richardson. I know he traded Brock Purdy from you. And then after that, he really just has like Desmond Ritter. And now he has Gardner Minshew as well with Anthony Richardson down. So he's looking for someone to fill in this QB1 spot. Um, uh, I think Mike is definitely trying to go for it with this move, but it's also interesting. Justin Fields is hurt. He is banged up when he made this trade, and now he's out for this week. So we're gonna see how that long-term impact has because I think he fractured one of his fingers on his throwing hand,
He
so
he dislocated his thumb
dislocated his thumb. Okay,
on his throwing hand, so that can be great because it just goes right back in, or the ligaments around the thumb could be pulled and need time to recover. So if he's off this week, you hope that it doesn't turn into a 2, 3, 4 week situation, because it's really going to come down to, can he grip the football? If you can't grip the football, you can't be a quarterback.
exactly. Well,
And
he
this
could
is kind of like, it's not the exact same. Remember when Russell Wilson had that dislocated and broken finger, and then he just couldn't
he couldn't grip the
grip
ball.
he couldn't grip the ball, and then he was out for, I think it was 3 weeks. There's 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah,
So like, obviously for any athlete in the NFL, you don't wish anything bad upon them. So you hope he recovers faster. But this is this is that injury makes this trade a little better for Jack. If there wasn't an injury, I think Jack could have got a lot more. And the reason being is exactly what we
interesting.
talked about, in the beginning, is youth. So I don't like Justin Fields. I dislike him. I've
I
never
was about
wanted
to
to like
say,
him.
I'm shocked that you're saying this. You don't like
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
No, yeah, I don't like him at all. But you can't use emotions to dictate value, right? If you're, investing in stocks and, Pigpa, if you're investing in stocks and you say, I emotionally think that this stock is going to rise and fall, you're eventually gonna lose a lot of money because you have to do your research. You have to understand what these companies are capable of. Let's understand what the company of Fields is capable of. All right, so Fields is capable of 40-point games in the past 50-point games. Like Fields has this capability, and he's only a second-year quarterback. Like I really dislike how the NFL/fantasy world is saying we need the rookie quarterback to perform like 210 points at minimum, which is pretty difficult first year in the NFL. And
Yeah.
then the sophomore year, he has to progress off of that. It's got to be 280, 200, pushing 300 points. And then the third year, he's going to hit his stride. That's just not how human beings work. Like human beings need processing time. And sorry, this current generation, you guys need a lot of processing time. We got a lot of, people struggling out there with stress and anxiety. So it's like, there's no way that we can assume every single year, every single first round quarterback is going to be producing year one. It just doesn't happen. It's not a thing. It's not reality.
It's difficult too,
Yeah,
You're making the
this
leap
is
from
we're
college.
talking about.
You're making the leap from college to the
Yeah,
actual National Football League.
we're talking about the most difficult thing, in my opinion, on earth. Baseball is a sport where you need to be so specifically talented that it's difficult to become a baseball player, right? But there's no danger involved. I mean, yeah, a ball's coming really fast at your face. There's every now and then there is a traumatic injury in every single sport. But when you look at sports like basketball, baseball, in comparison to hockey, rugby, and football, you're talking about daily physical anguish. So you're a quarterback just getting into the National Football League. You're so pumped. You just got paid. You just got all these deals. You're on commercials. And then for 5 months straight, you're getting hit.
Yeah. But they're used to that. That's what they signed up for. Not that it makes it
I
anything better, but like,
listen,
it's
like
a
you just
grind.
said,
It's a
the
daily
hitting
grind.
capacity, the hitting velocity from high school to college, huge jump. The
Oh
hitting
yeah, yeah,
velocity
yeah,
from
yeah.
college to pros,
And they always say that.
immense,
They always say
immense.
that. The hits feel
So
a lot different.
yeah, so back to my original point. I think Fields being 23, 24 years old and having the capacity to run the way he runs and score the way he scores. Yeah, maybe he scores 9 points, but the very next week he might score 50 points, win the week by himself.
QB9 of
Okay?
the season.
Say it again?
QB9 of the season so far.
Yeah, QB9. Like yes, he's up and down, but if he was your QB2, how excited would you be for that?
Absolutely.
Right? Because you know that your second tier quarterback could potentially throw up 50 points and win you any given week against any given team. Justin Fields on a middling team could beat Jose or Patrick any given week just because that he decided to go off or the other team decided not to have a good scheme against him. So
I
two
guess,
firsts would be my minimum for Justin
yeah.
Fields, my
I think
absolute minimum.
one thing I also want to just talk about is just like the trajectory of Jack's team. I don't really know what this does for him, to be honest. I'm kind of
Yeah.
just like looking at his team, it just kind of looks like it is like kind of lost in this like middling land of like, okay, what direction are you going to go in? So, trading Justin Fields is definitely an interesting move. He actually doesn't have a starting quarterback to start this week. So, whoever Jack's facing, I think you're being gifted a W. So, who is
Yeah.
that? Frankie, congrats on the dub. So I don't know. I think Jack also needs to figure out what's he doing.
Yeah. I
What are
had
we
I had a
doing
little
here?
bit of a chat with Jack after the trade, and I was just telling him like, okay, so you're redraft now, right? And he was kind of, yeah, I guess. You just got to make a decision, brother, and it's fine. Look, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is a league that there's a lot of brand new dynasty people. Folks, go do your research. Just listen to a podcast. There's the fantasy footballers has a dynasty podcast now. Like it's not a secret. Like I know everyone's got like their secret sources, so I'm not gonna like reveal mine. I'm sure Jason's not gonna reveal his, but everyone knows about the
I
fantasy footballers.
I
They're
watch
just such
everything.
they're a massive organization. So the
Yeah,
idea is like just I'll give you that. I'll give you that hand me out. If you everybody has podcasts for free on their phone, just go listen and just hear ways that people evaluate things because your way of evaluating is never fully correct.
that is true.
And you got to always be listening to other people and other people's opinions. So, not the worst trade on the docket thus far, but definitely could have got more, in my opinion. Definitely could have got more for Michael. Best of luck. Hope he gets healthy, but volatile quarterback that I'm not particularly interested in. So it is what it is.
Well, now he has Brock Purdy and Justin Fields moving forward. That's the
Yeah.
swap right there. All
Yep.
right. Next here we have the Jamar Chase trade. Some wild stuff overall. So I think when this happened, I think this was the decision that Mike was going with. Mike is going all in. He needs
Yeah.
to. You're getting Chris Godwin, Isaiah Pacheco, who are
They're win now assets.
they are
Pacheco's younger,
100%,
but he's still a
100%.
win now asset because he's a seventh round draft pick.
And he's a running back that they are not committed to. So Chris Godwin, I don't really know what his contract honestly really looks like, but also he is not like a long-term dynasty asset that I
Yeah.
would kind of say. He is still young
Yeah.
though. I think he's only 26, 27. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. He has time. It's just like it's another one of those questions of like, yeah, he's a 200 point scorer, but how long's Baker going to be there? He's
Yeah,
had quarterback shuffling in the last couple of years.
for sure. I would say,
It's interesting.
I think if you take Isaiah Pacheco out of this deal for like a second, this is the way like I was kind of like analyzing it. So we're talking about this whole like tier down, tier up type of thing. So Jamar Chase for Chris Godwin, that first and a second. I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't even get it done for me right there. I need more for Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is real steady.
Compare Chase to Wilson. So I said Wilson is 2.5 first value. You might have said it's a little less, maybe just two. Where's Chase?
Chase is 100% going to be two for me, but it depends on who I'm going to be sending back here. Like
Only two?
well, I also need like a player. So
All right.
2.5, three. Like
Yeah.
I would do like if I had Puka Nakua, I would throw Puka Nakua and a first out there for some feelers, but I would definitely attach a second like
Yeah.
first to get the deal
Yeah.
done. You know,
Yeah.
if I had those
I
assets.
this is where I'm at. Bold take, but I guess people have been saying it a little bit, recently in the dynasty community. Chase is the number one dynasty asset.
I
Wide receiver. Wide receiver.
I
He is.
I was
In my
saying
in
that
my world, he is.
I said at the beginning of the season, I said he's gonna move his way, but I honestly don't. I think he's gonna be see, but I know what you're saying is because that whole Justin Jefferson QB dilemma and stuff, but Justin
Situational.
Jefferson is ridiculous. Like he has given
Yeah.
me zero reason to for me to say that he won't be number one.
But what happens when they have a rookie? And what happens when they trade Kirk Cousins potentially this year at the trade deadline?
Well, he's not committed to the Vikings. He needs a contract.
Who? Justin or Kirk?
Justin Jefferson.
Oh
He
yeah.
might be on
So
he
you're
might
saying
be
that
on a
there's a
new team.
world where they trade Justin Jefferson?
That there's not going to be a world where they trade. Well, they could trade him or he's just going to walk.
I don't think they'll. I mean, if they want him, they're not going to let him walk. They'll franchise tag the
But
crap out.
who says that Justin Jefferson wants them? You know,
I don't. I just don't. I haven't heard any of that stirring, so I'm not going to make that assumption.
there's a little bit of chatter there. Like why? Like even like right now this season, like obviously he hurt his hamstring and he's on the IR. But if the
Yeah.
Vikings continue not to win, is Justin Jefferson going to come back and play?
Well, the Vikings are currently in the run for a top quarterback. If the Vikings end up with Drake May or Caleb Williams, even Penix,
Yeah,
they'll be fine. He just needs to wait a year for that rookie to catch up.
and it's going to be interesting for that to happen. But back to the trade here. We're going on a tangent with Justin
Three
Jefferson.
firsts, three
Um,
firsts for Chase, and he's the number one dynasty asset because he has quarterback integrity for the next 10 plus years.
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
No, I
So
agree.
this
And
deal does not get it done for me.
it does not get it done. I would agree. And I think just kind of like in a consideration here, like now you're kind of looking at Mike's team, like, it is decent. I'm not gonna go here and shame it. It does have a lot of upside, I would say, definitely kind of like moving forward. But giving away Jamar Chase, like probably one of the most valuable assets in Dynasty, especially in the wide receiver position for this whole is definitely like you're going for it right now. I really wish he did get more. And now you also got to think about in comparison, like, okay, now you just traded someone Jamar Chase. Who did you trade Jamar Chase to? You traded Jamar Chase to the second best team in the league, according to the standings. And now he has Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on the same exact team, which is which is so cool. Like
No, no, it's not. Why
I
is that
think
cool? We
that
are
is
in this league, Jason. What are you talking about?
that is so cool. I mean,
It's
I'm happy.
infuriating.
I'm happy for like I wish I was that cool and I had both of these players. That's essentially what I'm saying. Like that
Freaking
is
lawyer, freaking lawyer.
that is awesome. It's cool for Ben. It's an awesome move to have.
I'm gonna
I'm
change Ben's name to Lawyer Talk. He
but
just talks his way into all these great things.
I don't know. I definitely am just like I would want way more for Chase. I will say, well, Mike is definitely going for it, but he still has, a steady amount of draft picks. Like, I guess like the move makes sense for his team, kinda, but like I really do just wish he still got more. Like he still has 224 first. He still has that second there. So like he has the draft pick, he has the capital to kind of continue moving forward. I don't think Mike's ever gonna be like an awful team kind of moving forward, but he definitely those picks are going to mean a lot, and it's going to be interesting to see if he continues to make some moves moving forward. Is he going to get rid of those picks for some more players? I don't really know. So that's also something to kind of keep in consideration for him. He's going for the dub. Drake London has started to make some type of appearances here. Saquon Barkley is back. Dallas Garrett starting to get back into the offense. Javonte Williams has been kind of a bust, but he we're going to get into the next trade there. But it's it's definitely it
What do you
has
think you
it
need?
has it has promise.
What do you think you need to be a top three team in a dynasty league? Like
I think
our format, we have a quarterback, a super flex, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, three flex. What do you need? What kind of depth do you need? Because I don't see it on this. I don't see the depth to make it all the way.
I'm really looking for like 2 to 3 players that you want to rotate. That is my benchmark right there. I
So you
want
need three. You're saying three players on the bench, 2 to 3 players on the
two to
bench
three
that can
players
get
on
in
the
there.
bench that like if someone gets hurt, I have no cause of concern to just like, okay, like I'm gonna be okay. So that's exactly why I traded like Stefon Diggs. Like my bench is so awful that I literally don't have anybody. It's just like I was starting who's I starting? I was starting Rondale Moore. Like I don't want to start Rondale Moore and like be happy about that. That's insane. Like that's just
Yeah.
not what I want. But
Like
that's
if I'm Mike, instead of trading Chase for a plethora of assets, I would have traded Saquon. I would have traded Dallas Goedert. I would have traded Michael Pittman. Right? These are all names that still hold more than a single asset value. Right? Pittman, you could have got two things for. Saquon, you could have got two or three things for. Dallas Goedert is in the position that struggles the most. You could have got two things for Dallas Goedert. Like instead of, I don't know, I just feel like regardless if you're in a rebuild or contending, like Jamar Chase is that unicorn that does both. I can
yeah,
contend with Jamar Chase. I can rebuild with Jamar Chase. Same
yeah,
thing for
definitely.
Justin Jefferson. Like we're gonna say the exact same thing in a minute. So
You want to go to the next one?
yeah, why not?
All right, next one.
Ben's out here on the freaking. Ben's not even out here on the discount sale. Ben's out here on the clearance. Like we're going out of business. This is ridiculous.
Oh, Austin feels some type of way. All right, last trade of the day. I'm back in the game. And Mike is still here. So I acquired Anthony Richardson for Tony Pollard and a third. So, when I saw this trade happen with Ben, the Jamar Chase trade, um, I knew Mike needed to go for it. So I was inquiring him. Anthony Richardson is getting him 0 points this season, and that's for a fact. So
Yep.
Tony Pollard, guess what, is not going to get him 0 points this season. Tony Pollard's a top 10 running back. So did some chatting, added a draft pick, and we got it done. I'm super excited. Obviously I got rid of Stefon Diggs for DK that first, second, and fourth. So I'm starting to look for next year and beyond.
Yeah.
So I get Anthony Richardson. I pair him up with Josh Allen. Those are my quarterbacks for the future.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic about it. I definitely got that discount, but obviously Anthony Richardson is hurt. So, I think this is a mesh of I want to rebuild and Mike wants to go all the way. So now Tony Pollard is going to be inserted in his starting lineup moving forward. And those are some points that you want every single week. Look at that.
Yeah.
15.27 points per game. Like, I think this really does elevates Mike's team to a little bit to that next level because Javonte Williams has been absolutely awful.
Yeah.
You're getting those points, but obviously I got him at the discount. There's no lying there. So your thoughts?
Um, I it works. It works. I don't want to critique it too much.
That's what we're doing.
I know. I personally, and you know this from the other league, quarterbacks are just so valuable in Superflex. And for whatever reason, I'm now in two leagues where they don't really get the value that they deserve. Like, you'll never change my mind. Kenny Pickett's worth a first. I don't care how bad he's doing. I don't care what people think about Mike Tomlin. I don't care. He's 24 years old and he has 15 years of football ahead of him if he pans out. Now
If
you can now
exactly
you can
if
say
he
you can
pans
say
out.
you're allowed to say that. I'm the seller. It's
Okay.
my guy, right? So Anthony Richardson is gonna pan out unless he gets injured, correct?
I think he already panned out. Are you kidding me? Look at this.
That's all right. So that's my point. So there's no way I'm
Certified
not
baller.
getting a first involved with this. Like, I'm gonna get Tony Pollard and a 24 first. That's the bare minimum. And I would even ask for more. I'd say 24 first, 25 second, and Tony Pollard. Like he already showed what he can do at the NFL level, right?
Yeah. And you
So I just I, quarterback is the so you have these tiers of longevity, right? Tight ends actually have the longest longevity, but they're irrelevant for so long because they take so long to become point scorers. But after tight ends, quarterbacks have the second, very close second, longest longevity.
yeah,
So there's no way I'm not getting something that also can have that long of longevity, which is a first round draft pick. A
which is
first round
that
draft pick can
third
become,
round draft pick right there.
geez Louise, the first round draft pick, whether it's a wide receiver or a quarterback, is going to match the longevity of Anthony Richardson. Granted, he doesn't get injured. Now, maybe you get a first round draft pick that ends up becoming a running back that is a guy that is a staple, like a Brees Hall or a Bijan Robinson. So you have every now and then you have a unique scenario where the running back also kind of has that insulated value. I whatever.
you love
Call me what you want to call me, but
you love
quarterbacks are
quarterback.
immensely valuable. It might not happen this year, it might not happen next year, but at some point in this league, in your league, everybody's going to need a quarterback. It's just going to happen.
Oh, I need
It's going to there's going to be like 4 or 5 people who are like, wow, like my quarterbacks just aren't going to get it done. And guess what? I'll be the candy man.
hey, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. But you know, there's that trade in a nutshell. I think it does help both parties. I think like the main team to talk about here is Mike, and it's just how this is going to impact him going forward. Like Mike is at number 8. I'm sure he's going to shoot up. Like I'm at number 6, and I don't want to stay there. So I'm out of the game. So
Yeah,
I think
unless I keep getting lucky, I'm probably going to stay in the middle, to be honest.
yeah.
I like
So
my team. My team is a 1 year punt to start with. I have a lot of young guys that are going to be better next year. Um, I was inquiring about Chase. I was inquiring about Jefferson. People make these trades without even like. Here's another thing, boys. Let's realize that everybody probably wants your asset.
Yeah, but
Don't
if
just
people
don't just
aren't
keep
coming,
these conversations between one person.
but if people aren't coming from it, what do you mean? You got to make a deal done.
No, you're a behind the scenes kind of guy. I know you. You're sneaky. You're a sneaky guy. All right.
I don't know.
But I was right there chit chatting for Justin Jefferson, and all of a sudden I wake up and he's gone. I was right there chit chatting for Jamar Chase. All of a sudden I check my phone an hour later, he's gone. It's like, guys, you gotta let these guys bid. Let these guys bid here. I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
You are hurt, but it's okay. All right, but those are all the trades that we have to talk about today. Obviously, we had a lot of them come through this week, so definitely wanted to really focus on that. But yeah, anything else for the crew here, Austin?
Nothing. I love this stuff. So when I'm critiquing you guys, I still love you. Okay.
I can't believe it. Jack has zero starting quarterbacks this week. Is Jack aware of this? Does he know?
Yeah, Jack is very sad. We were at Sean's bachelor party this last weekend, and Jack he's just really sad.
I'm sure
But
Pat.
here's the thing: does he still have his own pick, or did he trade that away?
I would assume he has his own pick. I don't really remember what he. Yeah, he has yours
All right,
and his.
so he's gonna have two top seven, one top potentially two or three. I think Jack has a chance at Drake May. I think Jack has a chance at Penix. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could just draft two quarterbacks this upcoming year.
I think I'm gonna send some trades Jack's way. Jack, I hope you're around today. Russell Wilson
Jack could
calling
be
your
a
name.
salesman. Jack could be a salesman right now. Hopefully, he's done his research.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, but that's all we got for today. Happy Sunday. Enjoy it. And
Good luck.
we'll see you in the future.
Yeah.